Simple random sampling methods is a type of probability sampling method. Simple random sampling is a basic and widely used methods for selecting sample from a larger population. It is a probabilistic sampling, as I said, where each member or element of population has an equal and independent chance of being included in the sample. Simple random sampling can be accomplished through various methods such as drawing lots, using random number generations, or other randomization techniques or lottery methods. So there are key steps and characteristics of the simple random sampling we need to understand. So first we need to, as we know, 2 points is important: population. We are going to target study population, and out of them we are going to select the samples. So we are going to adopt the simple random sampling method. So first begin by clearly defining the population you want to study. This population could consist of people, items, events, or any other entities relevant to your research or survey. After that, we need to sample size determination. Determine the desired sample size, which represents the number of elements or individuals you want to include in your sample. The sample size is typically chosen based on considerations such as desired level of confidence and precision. And after that, random selection. Randomly select the required number of elements from the population. This means that each element has an equal chance of being selected, and the selection process is not influenced any bias or pattern. So, in continuation, randomization methods, there are several methods to achieve random selection, including random number generators. Use computer generated random numbers to select elements from the population, or we can use drawing lots, write down the names or identification numbers of the population members, or piece of paper and draw lots to select the sample, or we can say lottery methods. Randomization software utilize specialized software or tools designed for random sampling. And one another points we need to keep in our mind: replacement or without replacement. In simple random sampling, elements can be selected either with replacement or without replacement. With replacement means that each element is returned to the population after being selected, allowing the possibilities of selecting the same element more than once. Without replacements means that once an element is selected, it is not returned to the population, ensuring that each element is selected only once. Few advantages of simple random sampling we need to know about it. Like first point, representativeness. Simple random sampling ensures that every element in the population has an equal chance of being included, resulting in a sample that is representative of the entire population. Unbiased, it minimizes bias in the selection process, as there are no subjective criteria or preferences involved in selecting the sample. Statistical inference, the results obtained from a simple random sample can be used to make statistical inferences and draw conclusions about the entire population with known degree of confidence. Simplicity, simple random sampling is straightforward to implement and understand, to making it accessible to researchers and surveyors. And some Few disadvantage: population list. It may be challenging to create a complete and accurate list of the population, especially in large or hidden populations. Resource intensive. For very large population, the process of selecting a simple random sample can be resource intensive, especially if done manually. Variability depending on the sample size and the population, simple random sampling may not ensure sufficient representation of specific subgroups or rare elements in the population. So, in summary, simple random sampling is often used as a foundation for more complex sampling techniques and is appropriate when you want to ensure that each element in the population has an equal chance of being included in the sample. This is all about basic information about simple random sampling. Now we have one example we need to understand. So example for simple random sampling. So as we know, simple random sampling is the method of selecting a sample from a population in such a way that every individuals or unit in the population has an equal chance of being included in the sample. So now we are going to take an example from a hospital setting. Simple random sampling might be used for various research, quality improvement, or survey purpose. So scenario is that assessing patient satisfaction with the hospital's cafeteria food. So this is our research questions objective. Now we need to understand how we'll select the sample. So first of all, we need to define the population. So the hospital wants to assess the satisfaction of patient with the food served in the hospital's cafeteria. The population in this case in all the patients currently admitted to the hospital. So now next step, sampling frame. A list of all the patients currently admitted to the hospital is created. This list includes the name of the patients or identification number of each patient. So after that, we need to start random selection. Using a randomization methods, computer generated random number list or a random number generator, or we can use lottery method. A certain number of patients are selected from the sampling frame. This selection is done in such a way that every patient on the list has an equal chance of being chosen. After that data collection, the selected patients are the approached for their feedback on the cafeteria food. This could involve distributing questionnaire, conducting interviews, or using other data collection methods to gather their opinions. So advantage of simple random sampling in this scenario, unbiased representation. Means simple random sampling ensures that every patient in the hospital has an equal chance of being included in the survey, which helps in obtaining an unbiased representation of patient's opinion. And then statistical inference. The results obtained from a simple random sample can often be generalized to the entire population of hospital patients with a known degree of statistical confidence. And transparency is one of the important point. It is a straightforward and transparent sampling method that is easy to understand and implement, and reduced bias. Simple random sampling reduces the risk of selection bias compared to non-random sampling methods. Now in the summary of in this scenario, it is important to note that simple random sampling may not be the most practical method for all situations, especially when the population size is large or when specific subgroups need to be overrepresented in the sample. In such a cases, stratified random sample or other sampling techniques like systematic or clusters or others may be appropriate for uh, collection of the data.